This channel is so close to reaching 100,000 subscribers, and I'm going to be celebrating by doing a 100,000 subscriber giveaway where you can win a lot of these DVDs absolutely free, no charge to you. All you have to do, click the link in the description below, 100,000 giveaway, and I'll let you know how you can receive this yourself. Don't delay, make sure to subscribe, and let's get right to it. Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Rick9G. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about I Love Lucy, more specifically about Vivian Vance and her estate. We're going to talk about many different things, her marriages, as well as how much she was worth, or how much her estate is worth. I think you're going to find it very fascinating. Now let's talk about Vivian Vance. She was, of course, the super lovable sidekick or supporting actress on the role of I Love Lucy. She was amazing. Lucille Ball's best friend in real life as well as on the show. Just to get this out of the way, I know a lot of you know this, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Now, she was never married to the guy on the show, Fred Mertz, who was played by Bill Frawley. That was just an act. That was just something on TV. They actually did not like each other in real life. I made a special video on that, so go ahead and check it out. If you haven't seen it, I explain everything there. But as I mentioned, she was actually married 4 times during the course of her life. Now, one of the reasons why I mentioned this is because if we're going to talk about her estate, we do need to talk about, well, who her husband or husbands were, who was the last one, and how did the money get passed from here and there. And so we're first going to start with this little interesting tidbit that is the same as Bill Frawley. Now, Vivian Vance and Bill Frawley, they never had their own children. That's very important, especially when you are talking a little bit about an estate, or that is an heir to your fortune, because usually they would go to your children. But if you don't have children, then who does it go to? Well, for Vivian Vance, there was a very interesting situation, and that is because, well, let me mention the people she was married to. Her first husband was Joseph Shear Danick Jr. She was married to George Koch. Then she was married to Philip Ober. Now that's very interesting, and I do want to highlight him just a little bit. I don't want to go full blown, but I do want to mention that he was on I Love Lucy several times. He was in season 1, and he was also in season 4 playing a couple characters. And that's very important because they were on the screen during the show while they were married, which is pretty cool if you think about it. Then later on, she was married to her last husband, John Dodds. Now, there aren't many pictures of John Dodds, so I'll show you a couple of them here just so you can get an idea of who he looks like and who I'm talking about when I'm referring to John, or Mr. Dodds. Now, what's very interesting about him is that he outlived his wife. He outlived Vivian Vance. I won't go into the details of any of these marriages except a little bit about John Dodds because he was a widower, so he did survive Vivian Vance. So naturally, he kept all the fortune. He kept the Vivian Vance quote-unquote estate, including his fortune as well. He was a prolific writer and so forth. But what's very important here, again, no children, and so this brought up a little bit of a dilemma. Now, before we get into the dilemma, how much was Vivian Vance worth? How much was her estate? Well, $10 million. Yes, Vivian Vance is worth $10 million, which is a pretty nice chunk of change. Nothing that would touch the hem of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, of course, but again, she was a supporting actress in one of the most popular television shows of all time, if not the most popular. Now, keeping John Dodds in mind, I have to mention another individual. His name was Serge Matt. Now, Serge Matt, let me tell you why he is important. He was an antique dealer. He loved collecting antiques. He also had a shop in San Francisco. What's very interesting about him, he liked things that were very cultured. He liked the opera. He loved, of course, antiques, history, many things similar to this. One evening, he went and attended the San Francisco Opera with a business partner of his, and he was sat at a certain table. Interestingly enough, who did he sit right next to? Well, John Dodds. That's right, the husband of the late Vivian Vance at this time. Now, this was very interesting to note because they ordered champagne. They actually became really good friends during the course of the years, but it started right here at this table at the San Francisco Opera. Now, between everything that was cultural, fine dining, antiques, opera, and so forth, their friendship lasted until John's death in 1986. Now, this was close enough, and they became so close that Serge was left the Vance Dodds estate, which is, to me, mind-blowing, guys and gals. Now, he allegedly discovered an unpublished manuscript by Vivian Vance. It was her autobiography. It has not even to this day been released. Apparently, Serge was trying to look for a publisher for it, to no avail, of course, and that is something that's frustrating because we would love to see some of the words. Well, in fact, the whole autobiography. I would really be interested in reading it. Let me know if you want to know or read any excerpts from it. I probably could get a few hands on some words here and there with my research skills. But I want to mention here that Bill Frawley had a very similar situation in which he had to leave his estate, his fortune, to people that were not even really related to him. I made a whole video on that if you want to check that out. If you find this fascinating, let me know about other actors you'd love me to look at in the comments down below. And like this video if you enjoy it. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to participate in the giveaway. We're so close to 100,000, and most importantly, be hopeful. Thank you so much, especially to my diamond tier patrons: Gary Nettle, Lori K, Yasmin Gomez, Citizen Kane 359, Paul, Ricky, and David Davenport. If you want to be listed in the credits here and get many exclusive items, be sure to check the link down below for Patreon.